Hello, everybody. My name is Amul Patel. You're watching the Smoking Hot Coffee Show, where every day, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we talk to startup founders and people in the startup world. Today, I'm joined with,
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Pelton down here in San Diego.
and we've got Romain from Hull.io on today talking about his incredible social network in a box. Literally, within 2 days, he was able to build an Instagram clone using his open source, open platforms for social apps. Jeff, why don't you go into Hull.io for us?
Yeah, so this is like you said, it's a pretty powerful platform to power your social apps. So we know with web development, a lot of the development work is rebuilding the wheel. Rebuilding stuff that's been done before. Mainly what we call components now on the web, and that's actually becoming a standard. But a lot of the components are things like your chat room, your activity feed, your friends, achievements, and things like that.
And so within one or two lines of code, literally like within a few minutes, or maybe 10, 15 minutes, you can add an activity feed. If you want people to log into your app with a Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, you can do that. If you want them to rate and comment and to like stuff, you can do that. And so as a product person or as an entrepreneur, if you've got an idea for a marketplace or a social network of bike enthusiasts or whatever, you can literally build this stuff very fast. And we talk quite a bit about that and where the idea came from, and now he's in tech. He's in TechStars and about that whole experience. Jeff, what do you think of this from a developer standpoint?
The web's been needing this for quite some time, and I'm usually pretty up to speed on my bleeding edge technology, but I haven't followed the web components real closely enough. I'm going to take another look at it after this, obviously, but it's great to see. I mean, we've needed this for a long time, and it's really long overdue. We talk about all the difficulties and challenges that developers face in getting up to speed with the social integrations. Seems trivial, right? Like add login and add Facebook login and add some commenting or whatever or some sharing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really a pain in the butt for the developers because Facebook is updating these things constantly, changing the documentation and moving it around, and your stuff breaks when you don't expect it, and so they are going to manage all that for you so that you don't have to worry about all of that behind the scenes crap. Not to mention things like scaling the product down the road when you start actually getting customers and users on it.
Absolutely. So if you guys are watching this episode and have a cool idea for an app or some web thing, definitely look at Hull.io. Watch this interview. You're going to learn a ton about how to add these sort of features very quickly to your app, especially if you're trying to raise money and you're trying to get some traction. This is a quick way of putting those features in and showing investors that, hey, look, we got people joining, we got people friending, commenting, and all that, and you can add that so fast, right, Jeff?
Yep, I mean, we talk about the use case of the hackathon, which is just perfect, where you want to produce as much work as you can in 48 hours. You have a vision and you want to get it built. You don't want to spend time building it. You don't want to be rewriting algorithms and doing crap that you don't need to do. So this is the best way to get something up and running as quickly as possible that you can trust.
Yeah, so I think you're going to learn a lot from just watching this episode. And so please, if you like the show, email us, info@smokinghotcoffee.com, and tell your friends and family about us. We always look forward to getting more subscribers. We watch that metric quite a bit. Jeff?
Yeah, please go to our website, smokinghotcoffee.com, where you can find the subscribe link and find all of the channels that we're in, including YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, and others.
Great. And so with that, let's cut to our show. Hey, Romain, thank you so much for coming on the show today. How you doing?
Fine, great. Happy to be here.
It's our pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
So I follow the top accelerators, incubators, TechStars, other big ones out there, of course. And I saw you're part of the new batch, and I was just amazed at how much you guys have been able to build in such a small amount of time. Tell us more about this open source platform that you're building and how you got into TechStars. Give us a little bit of your history there.
So our history is that I'm coming from a background of design. I was the founder of a design agency, and I did this for 10 years. And at one point, we were having lots of customers coming to us asking us for applications with kind of social features. So basically they were showing us Instagram and telling us, can I have this in 3 weeks?
Right.
And we were trying to please them, but it was hard because you basically had to build everything from scratch over and over again.
Yeah.
So at one point we set out I set out with a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. That's an amazing guy. I'll tell you more later about him, to basically solve this problem for the agencies. And this was basically a year ago.
Okay.
And we've built a product that was making it easy to save time by combining different features that are ready to use and assemble your applications on a client side without having any backend code. And while doing this, we realized that we were doing something that was interesting to more than just design agencies, and that actually many startups we were talking to were asking us for one of these features or more of these features to be ready to just dump into their apps. And they were having many different technical stacks in the background, such as some were doing Ruby on Rails, some were doing Python, and there was no way we could have built something without doing everything on a client side.
Right.
And we came in contact with the concept of web components, and that's what Google has been talking about at Google I/O this year. Mm-hmm. They're calling this basically a tectonic shift for web development. They're building the technology that enables this natively in the browser, and the technology allows a developer to basically put in his page a line of HTML that will embed that would be a custom tag, and that would embed logic, markup, and CSS, and put it in a way that you can customize it, override it, and still keep control just as if you build the whole thing.
Gotcha. All right, so for those that aren't very technical, let's just give a brief overview of what exactly, with 1 or 2 lines of using your platform, what can we add to our app almost instantly? Give us some things.
1 line of code, you have a fully featured social login that works with basically any social network that you want to use.
Okay.
And it works cross-domain, so you don't need to host it on a specific server. You can have it on any website that you have if you have multiple.
Gotcha. So if I want to create an app and I want to log in with Facebook or Twitter, you can do that in 1 line. Done.
1 line.
Beautiful.
All
right, so we have the features up. Jeff pulled that up. Go over some of the other big ones.
So other big ones would be commenting. Okay. You obviously have Disqus, but Disqus is a black box in your page and it doesn't connect with anything else. Okay. With Hull, it's completely integrated, but you still keep the full control, so you can integrate it the way you want. Okay. We have ratings, likes, activity feeds. Personalized activity feeds are a big thing because every single action that you take on Hull is logged as an activity, and then you can decide to show me whatever my friends are doing across.
Okay, so this is really huge. This is a big one for me. You're saying within few lines you can actually have an activity feed similar to what we see when we log into Facebook and you see a wall of what your friends are doing.
Exactly, and it scales, and you don't have to maintain it.
That is fucking amazing.
Yeah. As a developer, I can tell you there's a lot of back-end stuff that you guys are hiding from us that is a lot of heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. With the social login, doing cross-domain is really difficult or a pain to set up for one-off development. And activity feeds. I mean, when I was putting together a social network for a company and we built the activity feed, boy, it was quite an effort. For the engineering to go read white papers and see what the best practices were, choose a strategy, implement it, see if that worked.
And then scale
adjust
it.
From there. Yeah, exactly.
And then scaling. Yeah. All right. So let's go over a couple of other big ones.
So other big ones would be, for example, we make it really easy for you to share to social networks or fetch data from external social networks. So let's say you want to show your followers from Twitter using only backend code, where you can do this with our friends component. But what's more interesting with us is that we're not only a collection of basically pre-built components. You can also build your own and do the calls that you want on Facebook or on Twitter or in GitHub, LinkedIn, whatever, and create your own functionality and reuse it afterwards really easily.
You know, Romain, I have to tell you, just hearing what you're saying and thinking about what you're doing here, you're basically saying that you can almost offer a sort of a lower end version of Facebook to anybody, really, and it's open and it's free.
Well, let me point you to a link.
Okay.
If you type gram.hull.io,
Okay.
you're going to see that we built, so it's really
Sorry, can you say that again? What .hull.io?
Gram, G-R-A-M.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, what you're going to see is a prototype that we built basically in 48 hours, has less than 200 lines of code.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for it to show because I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Okay, all right.
We basically built a clone of Instagram.
Wow.
Okay.
And it has no backend code. This is hosted on Amazon S3. There is no server-side logic. Everything is built using only components.
Wow.
And stock ones that we have.
And you're saying you were able to do this in 48 hours. In a couple of days,
Yeah.
you basically got an Instagram clone here.
It's only a front-end designer, less than 200 lines of JavaScript, and all the rest is combining the components that we already have. Of course, you can build your own on top of it if you want more functionality, but this is only stock content styled and combined.
And let me get this straight. So this works on your phone using
This works on your
HTML5,
phone,
and you can take
including-
photographs with your camera, built-in camera.
Exactly.
Wow. Jeff, this is incredible. Jeff, come on, let me hear you say it.
This is great. This is really amazing. A lot of
We-
power here.
We actually handle the user upload, so you can upload photos, and we will serve them from a CDN and resize them. You can upload videos, and we will transcode them really soon. So this is the
Wow.
kind of features that we're building to make it easy to
This
build
is
that kind of
huge.
things.
This is huge. It's almost like a white label social network, Instagram or whatever, LinkedIn, whatever you want to build.
Exactly.
That is amazing, Romain. I'm surprised I haven't heard more about you. Why are you such a secret?
We've been working hard on on building the product because the product is actually really young. We just opened the beta in July.
Okay.
And we've been working hard on this, talking to our customers, trying to build the right thing and not the biggest collection of features that no one will ever use.
Okay.
So we're doing things that are really well thought out for something that you can actually use in production. We actually have customers, movie studios in France where we are coming from, who are using the platform to build every single of their marketing campaigns
Right.
with it.
I could totally see all the big
yeah.
entertainment, big brands. Yeah.
It's a great use case because those guys need to move quick on their toes, right? It's more of a
Exactly.
creative endeavor. They want to be able to output their creativity onto the web without a lot of engineering legwork.
They have 30 movies a year. They have 2 months to create the community and mobilize it. And they want to collect the data and not do a one-to-one applications. They want to create a community and be able to recognize users across movies. So that's what they're using Hull for.
Wow.
Wow.
It's Romain, this is just genius work, man. Let's go over a couple more features before we go into your team and all that stuff. What else do we got here? Yeah, I see leaderboards. I see
Leaderboards, yeah, and achievements are big ones.
achievements. You've got some gamification going on here. Tell us more about all this.
So achievements are a really interesting concept. It sounds very mundane. It sounds like something that you have in Foursquare and that you can unlock to get a badge. But actually, achievements are a concept that is much wider than this. For example, if you take a quiz or a sweepstake that allows you to click a button and know if you won something or not, well, those are kinds of achievements. And we use the concept of achievement to build higher level concepts. For example, we have a quiz. I can send the link later if you want. And this quiz is just basically answering questions, and in the end, you unlock a badge that is your result and your profile. So achievements are a big thing. We're using it to really soon offer unlockable content. So that's a way to offer content that you can unlock without needing any backend code to connect all of this.
Holy
Very
cow.
smart. Yeah.
Wow, I'm telling you, I'm overwhelmed. This is just incredible, man.
Thank you.
How big is your team? Tell us about that, and how did you know? Are you funded with TechStars with the seed? Tell us about that.
So right now we're bootstrapped. We're having revenue for our current customers. We are in the process of raising a round right now, and our team is actually really small. We're really technical guys, all of us. So there is me, of course, me. I'm a product guy, so I spend a lot of time dabbling with front-end code and basically using Hull to build stuff that I want to see.
Right.
Stefan, my co-founder, is an amazing guy. He worked previously at a company that was building this huge online social game in real time in Java and 3D. And it was a really big funded company, and he spent 3 years building all these features at a huge scale. So it was kind of easy for him to replicate this in a generic way.
Right.
And then we have two other guys who are really amazing. One is coming from a company that got bought by Adobe 2 months ago for $600 million, and he basically built, Neoland they're called, and he built a web architecture for them there. So he's our front-end JavaScript engineer, and he's a speaker, a teacher. He really knows the nitty-gritty details of JavaScript.
Right.
And we got an amazing guy who's a front-end designer and developer who's basically crunching out every single feature faster than I could ever imagine. So this is our team, and we also have Stefan, who's an amazing guy. He was VP of Sales at SAP previously, and he is the guy that our customers starting to handle the relation.
All right, so we're talking about a very small team. How are you guys all in New York? I know you're in New York right now out of TechStars office. Are you virtually distributed?
So we were in Boulder until early August, and now part of the company is in Paris, attending to our customers, and part of the team is here with me. I'm here with Stefan to meet people, and we have a lot of people who want to talk to us about either our open source strategy and components or Hull as customers.
So let's talk about open source. Obviously, you guys need to make money. You got to pay these guys. These guys are all heavy hitters in their own right. Where is the money going to come from? I mean, I know you got some customers in France using it. What have you found so far? What are the early big wins there?
So people are using, the product is twofold. The front-end code is open source, and it's actually called Aura.js. It's a really big project, one of the biggest in GitHub. It's led by a guy that, Adi Osmani, who's a web evangelist in the Google Chrome team. He's an amazing guy. Okay. And we are core contributors to this project.
Okay, I'm sorry, what was the name of that again?
Aura, Aura.js.
Gotcha. So you're
basically an amazing project.
So this framework is already out there. It's got a lot of people already on it using it.
Exactly.
So you're going to plug into this existing infrastructure ecosystem.
Well, we actually contribute a lot to it. We wrote a new version a few months back that was integrated into the master. So we are really the core contributors to this project and really active on it. We're maintaining it.
Oh, that's so great.
With the rest of the team.
And I'm assuming on GitHub, you're saying it's one of the more popular repositories?
Yeah, there is more than 2,400 followers, if I remember correctly.
Gotcha.
So it's a really active project. And it's really compelling because it's trying to touch to the web component strategy that Google and Mozilla are pushing forward. So we're really getting closer to this vision.
Very nice. So if you got the browser guys on board,
Well, I hope so. And the backend is Hull, and it's our API, our servers, and people are paying for access to the API. So we have a free plan that has quite high limits, actually, and that is tailored for every single developer who wants to build applications. We get guys in hackathons contacting us all the time, building applications with it, and we wanted everyone to be able to use it for free.
Yeah.
And then when your app gets quite a bit of success, we have plans for API calls. and we tailored it so that the startups who we're working with are able to use it. And what's interesting is that actually we don't really cost that much of money because they would have to build these features and pay for them hosting on Heroku.
Right.
And chances are that we build them in a way that takes a lot of time, and that if they pay for them on Heroku, they're maybe even going to pay more in hosting than what we're going to charge.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. The hosting isn't cheap.
Yeah, no, it
Exactly.
isn't cheap, especially on Heroku. No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you don't optimize it, and if you're not ready to scale, it can be, like you're saying, that the cost of the hosting plus the cost of your engineers is just tremendous.
Yeah.
We're a good deal.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
So this sounds really great, Romena. It sounds like you guys are going to kick some serious butt. You're here in New York. Are you meeting up with a lot of startups? Are you going to a lot of events? Are you starting to evangelize it? How are you getting this stuff out there?
So it's really dense. Right now we're preparing conferences and hackathons. Right now we're meeting with a lot of people in the Boston, New York, and San Francisco area this week.
Okay.
Companies, amazing companies like Kinayo, who are also Texas folks. These kind of guys, we want to be part of this community, and we want to work with these guys because basically we're doing something that we love, and we want a product that developers love to use. So we're trying to hook up into that ecosystem in the best way possible.
Gotcha. What are, in terms of like hooking up with these guys, is Techstars, the founders there, and some of the alumni, has that been a really good sort of networking, getting in with these guys and showing them? How does that work? Tell us more behind the scenes.
So you have no idea how much life-changing Techstars is.
Yeah, so tell us about that.
We thought we had an idea before getting in, and it has been a hell of a time to get in because it's a really, really high-end program.
Right.
So we applied to New York early this year, and unfortunately, we were just short of making it, and we were introduced to Luke Beatty, MD at Boulder, who we had a lot of amazing discussions, and in the end, he told us that we were in. We moved everyone there, and we started the most intense 3 months of our lives.
Okay.
Basically, we were meeting with 8 to 10 people a day for a month. Then we were busy creating opportunities and getting intros to meet the potential customers and analyzing their needs to try to really understand it in a very, very concrete way. So this is the kind of work that you always think you need to do, and you always postpone if you're not.
Right.
Kind of
Now, in my opinion, this is all basically product market fit, customer development. You know, you're interviewing these end guys. These are your startups. You're the sort of foundational layer. What did you learn out of all these discussions and meeting with 8 or 9 of these guys every day? What were some surprises?
So the surprises were, well, actually we were in the space for a long time, so we had a few surprises, but it was mainly that it's so much harder to explain what you're doing than to understand it. And making people understand and love what you're doing is the hardest job you will ever do. Building the product is something that is, it's really hard technically. It takes a whole lot of time because there are so many things that you don't think up front that you would be needing to do. But getting people to understand what you're doing without boring them and getting them to understand in like 30 seconds is condensing all the value that you're bringing in a few words is really, really hard. That's what we learned.
I'd love to chat more about that and where you see this technology, the web technology going in general. Like you said, the browsers are starting to introduce the components. I mean, as a developer, it's always seemed like, software is magical because it's easy to reproduce. Yet we find ourselves and competing teams rebuilding the wheel over and over again. These reusable components. It's like, why am I reading a white paper from Yahoo on how to write a stream, a news feed, when it's already been done? There's smarter people on the project. What are people's general thoughts, like convincing engineers to trust you, convincing them to use some of your back end? What are some of the other touch points that are kind of shifting on the web right now?
So I think the biggest shift we're going to see is the trust. People a few years ago were not trusting Facebook to share their data, and then it went away and people embraced it. And today, one of the biggest feedback we get is, I want my data to be hosted on my servers. But actually, your server is Mongo HQ hosted on the cloud already. So it's already out of your control.
Yeah.
But people are coming together with the idea that outsourcing content does not mean losing control. And outsourcing, features does not mean losing control. And that's what is the biggest shift that's going on right now, I guess, with the cloud. And this is where we think that we can help the most. If we can outsource 90% of your app without taking away the control, then we are helping you in a tremendous way.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a really fine balance, though, right? It's really hard, and like when I put my CTO hat on, sometimes trying to make technology decisions, I honestly stray away from third-party solutions sometimes because you lose control, you lose connectivity to your core data, and some of those problems. But I think the advantage is clearly there, and it just takes a little bit of convincing sometimes to get the lead dev comfortable.
I think the fact that you're losing control is not something that is necessarily real. You can keep the full control, actually. It's that people think they're going to lose control.
Exactly.
And this is where the best products alleviate work without taking away this control. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're trying to do. Every single thing that you could do in-house, you can do with Hull. That's one of the main takeaways that we try to keep all the time.
Yeah, that's big. You mentioned on the features that you can customize your components and such, so that's huge.
But even on the back end, you can actually do server-to-server call and customize the logic if you want.
Wow, yeah.
That is amazing.
That's great.
So how does this project fit in with some of the other more cutting-edge things that we've seen recently, like Meteor and that kind of thing? Will this work seamlessly with that, or?
So right now, it's a matter of we think that developers spend a whole lot of time, maybe 70% of that time, integrating their services and building features like user login and everything. And they could build it faster on Meteor. They can build it faster with Ruby on Rails. They could build it faster with Kinvi, for example, and having a backend as a service. But what we think is that faster doesn't cut it because you still have to maintain and rework your architecture. So we're trying to basically take them away. And you can build your 10% that is really critical to your app in Meteor, in Kinvi, in Rails, and add the 90% with Hull.
Okay, gotcha.
Talk to us a little bit more about the maintenance part, because that's actually a huge issue for developers. I've done the social login integration handfuls of times for a couple different projects, but any of the social integration, not even just login, is just really frustrating because what was it? I guess it was a few months ago, but Twitter depreciated one of their older login methods or whatever, and I was like, oh, it just stopped working one day, and I don't have a ton of people using it, but I'm like, oh crap, now I have to add an extra value to the query string or whatever extra security token they wanted. Maintaining that is really frustrating for developers.
Well, to be really short, that's one of the main problems from long-lived applications that we saw. So we're basically trying to abstract it from you. We do it for you. We update our libraries internally and expose something that is consistent to you. And it's not limited to this. It's also caching and throttling. You cannot do an unlimited number of API calls in your app. You have limits. And we implement the API calls in the best way possible and implement caching in the best way possible so you don't have to worry about this.
Gosh, that's really valuable.
That is huge. It is really huge.
I can tell you as a developer, you think, oh, we'll just do this thing, and then
exactly.
You get 100 users, or all of a sudden you start calling the Twitter, get thing or whatever 100 times a minute, and it stops working. And I don't even know why, and now I have to build my own throttling. Yeah, that's beautiful.
That devil is in the details, basically.
Exactly.
Building applications.
I have to tell you, Romain, going away from the technicalities for a minute here and talking about the market realities and just entrepreneur in general, this sounds like a really great sort of quick go-to-market sort of silver bullet. Entrepreneurs may go to these hackathons and meet up with a developer, and they come up with a really cool idea. they want to build a social network for fixed gear cyclists, let's say, and maybe they hooked up with some guy that does hardware and he's got a little sensor on the bike or something. And they want to do a social network with that or whatever. Instead of rebuilding Facebook, they just hook this thing up and figure out a way to connect the device to the bike and all these other bikers, and when they do their little route. I think it could be really huge. I see honestly from a product perspective, from imagination, just coming up with ideas that you're not worrying about all this crap that you had to worry about before. You can prototype so much faster. What have you seen? Have you seen anything in the hackathon front? Anything cool?
So actually, yeah, we've seen one of the first hackathons we made. We were present actually, and it was a really interesting project because the guys, they didn't know about us, and we were in the room and we were watching them drawing an app that would let people report things going on in the city, like potholes or broken benches, and report them with a geolocation layer, and then other people could vote on them, upvote them, and at one threshold it would be sent as a notification to the mayor, and they were drawing things like user login and social login and commenting and rating and leaderboards.
Right.
And we came to them and show them how and say, hey guys, do you know that you can actually have most of this without any kind of hard work? Yeah. And they looked at it and they say, wow, well, let's try it. And like 48 hours later, they had 80% of the app.
Wow.
So they basically built everything in a weekend.
Amazing, man.
So
that's powerful.
Yeah.
But what we saw is that it's not limited to social. We have a company that we're working with. We met them at Techstars. They're amazing guys. Eli, they're called. They're connecting designers, product designers to manufacturers so they can build their stuff. And they have like 15 features a day to add to their apps because they're a startup. And they wanted to add conversations between designer and manufacturers. And, well, they came to us. It's not like what you consider a social network. It's just interaction between users. And they're using our conversation system to basically offer private conversations without any backend code.
Amazing, man. Dude, Romain, I can't stress enough how incredible this is. I've been in the internet space for many, many years, and we've seen white label social networks come and go. But the fact that you're doing this all open source, it's all JavaScript based, and so theoretically you can plug in your whatever backend you want. I hope you can build a standard so that other people can build on it, and it doesn't go away if you guys get bought out and you decide to do something else 3 years later.
Well, let me tell you something. Even if we don't build a standard, we're going to use the standards because we're a deep believer in the open source community. We don't want to waste our time building our own stuff and try to shove it to the world. We want to use the best technology. Right now, we think the best technology is web components on the client side. It's here to stay, and it really, really improves your application. So that's where we're going. And we're committed to using these best technologies all the time.
I love
because
that.
we're a developer product for developers.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great to hear as a dev.
I love that, man. I love that. So tell us really briefly, what exactly is this web components and the browsers? What does this mean for the web in the future?
Well, actually, it's a big thing. You know how today you add a YouTube video in your page and it's an iframe.
Right.
So you put the video in your page. Basically, it's a black box in your page. You don't know what's going on inside.
Right.
And you cannot change anything inside. Web components are kind of the super-powered version of these kind of things. You put a single line of HTML. It has all the logic. It can connect data. It can have markup and templating and everything, except that it's live on a page and you can customize them all that you want. You can hook them up to other web components in the page. And this is interesting because it stems from a vision that Nicolas Zakas and Adi Osmani explained a few years back, saying how do Nicolas Zakas was working on a Yahoo portal.
Right.
I was going to say Yahoo's they're big on this.
And they were saying, how do you build a huge, incredibly huge application? Well, you don't. You build small applications and you combine them, and that's the only way you don't crash and burn.
Right.
And web components are the technology that enables this in a very big way and very easy way.
Wow. And so,
Yeah.
are there going to be any issues with browsers? You mentioned Mozilla and, of course, Chrome. What about Safari and Internet Explorer? Are these?
So Mozilla and Chrome are making this a standard and applying. There is the W3C draft that is in progress.
Okay.
But whatever happens, this is the implementation we're talking about. The technology is actually already possible today with Aura.js, for example, except that the syntax is a little bit different, but the technology and the philosophy behind it is the same.
Okay. So, are you saying that if we start using these web components, there'll be a way for all the browsers to see it? It'll work in everything?
Exactly.
Okay.
Web components are here to stay. They're
Okay.
really the next generation for the web.
Awesome. Jeff, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, I got to dig into it a little bit more. I think I've been hearing about it for quite some time, and it's just been kind of waiting to jump on the bandwagon of the bleeding edge.
So you got to look at the Polymer project, which is what basically polyfills this today for for advanced browsers. This is the forefront of web component development.
Oh,
Cool.
interesting. Cool. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm really happy that your philosophy on the future and where you're going is right on. Like, you know what I mean? It's solid. You're building these big sort of components that'll be reusable and obviously large enough for movie companies to use and even small maybe businesses to use and startups to use. I love that. And you're future-proofing it with these web components, which could be a standard. So tell us more about the business model. Are you funded? How much runway do you got? What's your roadmap looking like?
So right now we are bootstrapped. We're raising a first round right now, and we have a runway that is actually quite good because of the customers who are already trusting us.
Okay.
Where the reason we want to be funded is that we want to accelerate. We want to be able to bring this vision, this complete vision, to reality faster, and make the world know about it. So obviously it's easier if you have that kind of help. So yeah, that's where our status, and the business model is clear. I explained it earlier.
With the APIs. Gotcha. So
Exactly.
how do you get? I mean, developers are notoriously fickle, and they don't like using. I mean, they like to build stuff. What have you found that's been working to try to get some of these guys on board?
I think the truth is that developers hate writing code. What they like to do, because every single line of code that you write is another thing that could go wrong at some point, break at the wrong time. What developers love is solving hard problems.
Yep.
So they don't want to rebuild everything. They want to solve the problems that are interesting to them and not have to maintain or build the menial features.
Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I can tell you from firsthand experience.
So, have you found specific channels that really work for developers? I know tons of developers on GitHub. A lot of them are on Twitter. What have you done? Have you noticed any way to get some outreach there? Any wins there?
So we've had quite a bit of success doing content marketing, basically.
Content marketing, okay.
Yes, talking on our blog, getting retweeted, reblogged, getting into newsletters like JavaScript Weekly, all these places.
Yeah.
The changelog. All of this is bringing us a lot of visibility that is really high-end and really qualified. People know why they're coming to us.
Gotcha.
I don't have a huge interest of showing incredibly huge number of people who don't even understand what we're doing.
Right.
I think we want to, say kind of hardcore for these guys.
Gotcha.
And there are a lot of them, so that's not a problem in the end.
Gotcha. So your blog and content marketing is critical there. So you're looking at a lot more inbound. Are you looking at like Hacker News, trying to get on there? How's that?
Actually, it has been the genesis of our project. We posted in December a single page on Hacker News about us building this kind of product, and we shot to #1, stayed there the whole afternoon.
Wow.
And people were loving it. It was actually interesting to see that there was positive comments on Hacker News that this is a possibility.
Yeah. They're
So
not.
Hacker
That's
News
not an easy crowd.
It's a tough crowd for sure.
Yeah.
So Hacker News is obviously really good, and also hackathons, conferences. We want to be present where developers are, so we're reaching out to them that way.
I love that. I love that. What are your thoughts on virtual hackathons? A lot of hackathons tend to be.
Sorry, just cut off.
Yeah, yeah. What are your thoughts on virtual hackathons? I know a lot of hackathons are in person. Well, I've always wondered why there aren't more virtual hackathons.
Like Rails Rumble, for example.
Like Rails Rumble, yeah.
Well, I think there is a huge part in hackathons that is compelling, that is meeting other people. So you're taking that away in virtual hackathons. You're just talking about what you're building, but the socializing part is really what makes developers want to, come. Okay. So big ones like Rails Rumble can work, and they actually do work really, really well because they have tons of hugely talented developers. But meeting people is, I think, the real reason people go to hackathon.
I got you. So in person is obviously very difficult to do virtually. Yep.
It works. You can do a virtual hackathon, but it's so much more fun to meet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We found, just in general on new technologies, we found the Google Hangouts to be, are up and coming and a pretty neat technology. Have you seen anything else, in the mobile space or any of the devices or other hype that has been going around recently?
So I actually bought a Leap Motion. That's maybe not related, but I bought a Leap Motion a few days ago just to play with it after reading the reviews. Right. After reading the reviews, and indeed, I feel like it might not be ready for prime time, but it's a really, really cool toy. And as a hacker, I really loved it. I can't wait for applications to come out that actually use it in a good way.
Right. Well, very cool.
And that's my little crush these days.
Very cool. Yeah.
Very neat. Yeah, we're always interested in new input devices and other ways of interfacing with the web and computers.
Yep.
So.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, there is also this company called LaunchKey that's doing two-factor authentication with your phone. That's really, really cool. They have an API, and basically you can log into any website, and you receive a push message on your phone, and you use it to unlock the website you're looking at.
Oh,
what's it called? Really cool.
What's it called?
LaunchKey.
LaunchKey. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. Really briefly, I know we've got to go here. We've had you on for almost an hour. What, in your opinion, I know doing like a startup, there's a lot of the emotional roller coaster. Some days are great, some days are not so great. How do you keep yourself motivated when things aren't going so awesome and you're getting some points of frustration? What do you do personally?
So maybe this is specific to me, but I was quite successful as the founder of of my agency, so I didn't need to go to the startup world. I just wanted to. Okay. So whenever it doesn't work, I'm just thinking that I'm doing this for fun, and that people warn me that it's going to be like this. Mm-hmm. So I get through this, and for me, it's just fun. We did demo day at Techstars. I was thrilled. I would have done it 10 times again. Just pure fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. It's a good mindset to keep it fun and keep it not so serious sometimes. Is there any last parting piece of advice you give any startup entrepreneurs who are out there trying to get their thing going? Well, anything you want to?
Yes. Don't waste your time doing things that you see in big companies. Do things that move the needle and that bring your growth and validation of your riskiest ideas. And to get these riskiest ideas, you get to have a lot of intellectual honesty. Being able to say, this seems to me like a good idea, but this is shit. And this is shit because of this and this, and people telling me, this kind of people telling me it. Don't listen to everyone, but know who to listen to, and accept that you're doing the wrong thing at some point and slash it.
Wow, that's great.
Great advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Take the big risks. Go for the big wins. I love that. And be willing to burn your babies.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, cool. Well, if people want to get a hold of you or learn more about the project, what's a good email or a general way of getting a hold of you?
Contact or team at Hall.io. We basically everyone receives every single email. We're trying not to segment.
Awesome.
And yeah. You can contact us on GitHub if you want to talk technical. On Twitter, always someone to answer. So really easy to reach.
Beautiful. I love that.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Romain. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to watching this project grow and eventually become a standard. I love this stuff.
Hope so. Well, thank you for having me. It was a great pleasure talking to you guys.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the pleasure is all ours. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Take care.
All right.